appreciative of this to have opportunity for 1 minute talking to those who shape narratives, those who shape the values that drive the society. All of us know what the press, what you can contribute. Those of you that are here can change this country if you desire. It is you that people read, listen to. You are the one that shapes the opinion of the country. So it's very important that we have opportunity. And I'm sure your discussions in the next few days, you will come out with things that will start changing the narratives in Nigeria. For me, as a politician, my only little suggestion and contribution is that we know where we are now in our country, like a critical junction. That I don't know where nobody needs to tell you people whether things are going right or wrong. I was just talking to somebody this morning. I said, in the past 2 weeks, we've had a position where the President of America has made a statement. I even asked General, I'm sure General will be lecturing you more on it, had made a statement. And in that critical tweet, issue of genocide, killings were mentioned. I asked I'm happy he's there, and I've asked somebody earlier before him this morning, because I met another general that was coming here this morning in the plane. I said, General, what do you think about this? And I've asked General this morning too. Where we have a situation where somebody mentions something, and instead of looking at the stark reality, are they killings? Yes. We spend time debating whether it's genocide or not. When I think we should have put ourselves together, face the stark reality that is the killings, and find out how we can organize diplomatically and everything, how we can be helped. But for me, what is most important in that tweet is the second line, which says, non-disgraced country. Non-disgraced country. People have asked me, because I've read a lot of news, people are saying, are we disgraced? Are we now this? Are we that? My little, as you people, because like I said, you people are the ones that will shape the future. It's a question we need. As a philosopher, one thing that is central in philosophy is that unexamined life is not worth living. You must go back to yourself and ask yourself. So somebody asked me that question, said, non-disgraced country. I said, what are you talking about, non-disgraced country? What is wrong in it? Why is it that anytime people make comments, instead of looking inward, we're looking the other way around? You are a country with the highest number of 4 people living in one country. 130-something million. You've even gone beyond where a combination of the 2 biggest countries in the world, which is India and China put together, nearly 3 billion, you have more people living in poverty than 2 of them combined. And you're worried that somebody called you now disgrace. Why don't you look back and know where there's anything that's causing you disgrace behind it? You're a country where you have 20 million people, children out of school. No other country. And you're not worried that somebody called you non-disgraced. We've overtaken India, 7 times our population in infant mortality, and you're worried that somebody called you now disgraced. You're one of the hungriest country of the world. Even Ukraine at war dashed you grain to fight hunger. And you're saying now disgrace. Why don't you look back and know whether there's a disgrace behind you that you can deal with? You're one of your safest place to live in. And that's what I want you people to look at when you read this. It's not about, because some of us, often when we say, even people say, oh, you're demarketing the country. It is not demarketing, to tell the truth. So I urge you, you have what it takes to start getting us politicians to start thinking differently. It's not as if we don't take steps that are not good. Yeah, there might be steps we're taking that are good. Nobody says everything is bad. For example, we remove subsidy. That is a good decision. We've unified the currency. That's a good decision. But for God's sake, you cannot do this too, because you've seen World Bank now and said Nigeria took this decision. But why is that this good decision not working for us? Because you cannot tell people to fast when you're 50. You need to deal with the executive rascality of expenditure before your monetary policies can work. You need to deal with corruption. You need to deal with the issue of the cost of running government. I was telling somebody this morning, I said, listen, because whenever I go, people ask questions, I say, listen, we've just had a new mayor of New York. I said, the young man is on age, level of 36, 40. I said, Google his net worth. Is worth about $200,000. He's running a city with a budget of about 115 billion, 3 times Nigerian budget. Yet, if they see that young man with 2 vehicles on the road, I can assure you, he will not be mayor the next day. 2 vehicles, I didn't say 3, 2. He just said, I'm mayor of New York. I cannot move around like this. I said, that is the problem. We have a California that is the 6th biggest country in the world, with almost a 5 trillion economy. They don't have a lodge in Washington. If the governor tries to put a watch, it will be dismantled. So these are things we need to start looking where we have a teaching hospital. There's so many things. It's goodwill that I'm supposed to be telling you, but I need to also bring things you need to think about and everything. For me, I want you people to do tour. President, go to your national hospital. You can't stay there. The stench there will not allow you to stay there. It's your #1 hospital in the world. The budget of that place is about 10% of the budget of National Assembly Clinic. It's your #1 hospital. If you look at your 2024 budget, the National Assembly Clinic had about 15 billion. Your 6 biggest teaching hospitals, Ibadan, University of Ibadan, Nsukka, University of Lagos, University of Maiduguri, Ilorin and Jos put together is not up to that amount. They are capital vote. That is what we need to start thinking. So when they say now disgrace, you look back and see whether there's disgrace. And only you can do that. No other person can do it. We're building 4 biggest bus stations in the 4th geopolitical zone for 142 billion, where you don't have a primary health care in all those regions. That is 60% is unfunctional. Mothers can't go to hospital and give birth and be alive. And we are building bus station. Which bus? Is it government or work of government to build bus stations? So we can go on and on, but my dear people, I wish you people well in your discussion. Oh, please, know that we have a country. We need to deal with this country. We need to ask ourselves a question like we remove subsidy. Where is the savings of the subsidy? Where are the gains of it? Where is it impacting? Despite the fact that we remove subsidy, we borrowed more money. And all this borrowing, like I asked a few days ago, and they said, I'm not advising the young ones very well. Go and check the Euro bonds we're issuing now. They are 1948, 1949, 1951, 1952. I'm definitely sure people like me will not be there. It's our children that will pay it. And so what are we investing that they will use to pay it when it matures? Nothing. Because we are eating that money. This is time for everybody to help. Finally, please, we are in democratic dispensation. You have to be the voice of opposition. I'm happy, I must thank you people for inviting us. Because we were never invited. So this is the first time, so I must thank you people for the opportunity to even say hello. I was surprised when I saw the invitation. I said, opposition invited. Maybe. But when they told me where you were doing the opening, I said, I won't go there. But they said there is another place. So I can tell you what I thought at last. I said, I won't go there. Because now that they brought it to where people like us can come, we come. But I can tell you, this is how it's done everywhere in the world. You must help that the oppositions be heard. You must help us to start solving the issue of having strong opposition, strong institutions, so that people can speak out. Nobody wants, Peter Obi is not desperate to be president of Nigeria. I'm desperate to see Nigeria work for my children. I'm lucky where I am today. My children might not be that lucky. So we must stop this abuse of our country. And all of us, I need. Those who are in office today are not going to be in office forever. People have passed through there. They're even going to die. So why don't we build a better place for our children? Why are we destroying the place our children are going to live in? For a country that God blessed with everything, gave every opportunity. So help the opposition, help the voice, help the parties. I recall what Yaradua always said every day. May he so rest me. Yaradua told the INEC chairman in front of me, he said, I want all parties to work. I don't like all these things that you say parties have problems. Now we have situations where people are happy that other parties are having problems. How can you be happy that other people are not well in a system where everybody is supposed to be well? My dear people, let us fight the abuse. It will take its revenge on our children. God bless you.
Thank you so much for that. So please, we'll pray your indulgence to hold on for a second.
Let me, my dear sister, and I assure everybody, if there's one person who have benefited from the media, I'll count myself as one. Just like I keep telling you that there's one man who has benefited from Nigerian judiciary, I'll count myself as one. I went to court when I was impeached. I went to court after my election without meeting the 5 judges. They gave judgment in my favor without meeting them. I went to court of appeal without meeting the judges. They gave judgment in my favor. I was removed and I went to Supreme Court for interpretation without knowing one Supreme Court judge, meeting them. The 7 of them agreed with me. But I can tell you, nobody can get that in Nigeria today. Let's be realistic. If it was today, in fact, they might even fine me for coming to court without seeing them at all. I would have gone. So the same thing. I look at some wonderful people here who have done good, been fantastic journalists without even asking anybody for anything. People are reading every day. They're all over here. People who have written for nothing. And they do it with their listen. But I'm also urging you people, the ones coming after you are not doing the same thing. No. Let's be realistic. There's a times we had people who wrote from their mind. The younger ones are not writing like that. I'm appealing to the elder ones. You need to, because it's beginning to change gradually, where it's now turned into the same thing we are seeing in the judiciary and everywhere. So it is important that we start reversing it, because it's critical. I'm not looking for people to write what will please Peter Obi. Just write for the country. Write for the future of our children. That makes all the difference and everything. Thank you. And further explanation on the issue which I said of subsidy. If you read the statement of removal of subsidy, he said, we will not, for us to stop borrowing, and the gains of the subsidy to be invested in turning around the economy. In fact, after some few months, they were announcing the gains of the subsidy. Just the gains of unification. But I can tell you, even this year, we have over-borrowed our target by almost 70% this year alone. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong in borrowing. Any day I'm a businessman. There's nothing wrong in a national borrowing. Most of the countries we want to emulate are in debt. America is 124% of their GDP in debt. China is almost about 80% now. Any other country, Indonesia, everything has been. They were borrowed. But where is the debt being utilized? Where is the investment? What is happening to it? That is the critical thing that we need to do. Why is those savings? Where is those savings? Why is it not impacting on our critical area of development, education, health, and pulling people out of poverty? Why is it not impacting? Because those savings and those borrowing are mismanaged. If they are managed properly, you will see a difference. This is a country people used to come, medical tourism to Ibadan, to everywhere. Nobody comes here. I just gave you an example of a clinic, of a hospital that we can attend to here in Abuja. And I can go on and tell you other things that are not just working. So we have saved money, we've borrowed money. What are we doing? I go to schools, and every day, I was in school in Ibadan yesterday, and you see the same thing. I give you an example now. WAEC has just announced that you can now only do WAEC exam through using laptop. Hey, which secondary school have laptop here? Which secondary school? One is that the number of people in our secondary school is too low. For a country of over 230 million people, the number of people in our secondary school is supposed to be at least 30 million, but they're under 17 million. Yet, since they announced it, I took time. As at last week, I visited 18 schools. And what I do is that, where is the laptop for the WAEC? None. Where is the lab work for the WAEC? Assuming we decide to provide 15 million children laptop at cost of 100,000 naira each, it's 1.5 trillion. Are you saying this country cannot afford it? With all the waste we are throwing every year. That's what we're saying. So let us know that this money we took from here, this is where it is. That's the only thing development is all about. It's all rocket science. I've traveled all over the world and I see where people are borrowing. Look at our SMEs. Our SMEs are dying. Small businesses are dying. SME everywhere in the world drives 60% of their business. Here is dying. What is their biggest problem? Access to capital and training. Nobody can borrow money at something percent and survive. You go to Indonesia, a comparable country, they are borrowing money at 6%. These are things the savings should have helped us to manage and everything. They are not helping us. So it is question of, that's why I said you're asking people to fast and you're feasting